10 years ago, I was sitting there as a graduate student, and it happened that at that time, 2004, 2003, bioinformatics was a new field. It was a promising, great area of opportunity. You had the International Society for Computational Biology, but for students, for people who are in the position of beginning their careers, wanted to be involved into, contributing to the society, having opportunities to develop their careers in an organized manner. Anything like that didn't exist. So I'm going to be talking today about the role of RSGs, regional student groups, in the development of people's career in bioinformatics. And as you know, this is organized by the Regional Student Group UK, which was developed or started quite recently, I understand?
Yes, just this February.
February, okay, fantastic. So, this is going to be also a kind of personal presentation in the sense that I will be saying some assertions and affirmations that you may not necessarily agree. But I guess that you will hopefully take some of that and process it, and some of it might end up being useful. So, the power of networking. I think this is something that people forget when you are doing scientific work. There are some naive misconceptions about how to develop your own bioinformatics career. And the first one I think is that if you just work, then you are going to succeed. Working on, you just work very hard and things will happen. Okay, that's what I think is one misconception, and hopefully at the end of this talk you may agree with that as a misconception. The other affirmation is that if I work on my own, I'm sure I'll get to the top. I'll be successful. I don't need anyone to actually help me get and become a successful scientist. The other one is networking is a waste of time. Why should I talk to people? Why should I, engage in organization of these wonderful and really boring events that are, for presenting, I'm interested just in the science, organizing, being part of committees, this is a waste of time. So, talking about networking, let me just, for those of you who have not been exposed to this, let me just introduce what the International Society for Computational Biology is, or ISCB. So ISCB's mission is to advance scientific understanding of living systems. Okay? So if you go to iscb.org, you see this as a mission statement. And so how do they actually help advance our scientific understanding of living organisms? Through computation, through education, and of course, regional student groups are amazing tools and opportunities for people to become acquainted with the latest technologies that are, and the latest research that is happening in your area. Professional development, and this is absolutely key for the mission of a regional student group. You really want to learn all those soft skills that are not necessarily provided by your academic institution. And you want to be able to learn from other people in other regions, in other places, how they feel, how they are actually tackling the different problems of their career development as well as their scientific development. ISCB provides collaboration platforms, so ways for members and people throughout the whole of the field to actually contribute and to influence the discussions of the current issues that affect us all. Like, for example, open source issues, open access publications. These are the type of topics that are currently being discussed. Wikipedia, and I'm sure that Alex will talk about Wikipedia in his talk. And impacting scientific policy. So, just to give you a very brief overview. So this is what ISCB looks like. So you have at the top the executive committee of elected representatives. And you have the board of directors, which are recognized scientists from around the world that become elected and have an influence, direct influence in the different policies that the society is involved. I mean, one of the main outcomes of this society is the organization of some of the most important conferences in the field, such as ISMB or ECCB or some other ISCB Africa, ISCB Latin America, ISCB Asia. And as you can see down here, you see that there is a section of the society that is called the Student Council, which is at the same level of a committee. So committees for publications, committees for specific areas of interest. And the Student Council is actually an autonomous body within ISCB whose objective is to cater, represent, and allow students to develop their own career, their own priorities within the society. So it's a space for students to actually become involved in the international society. So the main mission of the Student Council is to develop the next generation of computational biology leaders, okay? Or computational biologists, if you will. Some people get a little bit scared about the word leaders there. So, you know, it's certainly a place for people to actually learn soft skills that your academic institution doesn't necessarily provide. So I just mentioned that before the Student Council existed, there wasn't any student representation, there wasn't any way for students to engage in the decision-making of the International Society for Computational Biology, which was, in my view, absolutely wrong. There weren't any RSGs, there weren't any student-focused conferences and events like this one today. So this is an important thing also to bear in mind. And there wasn't any dedicated support for students. So if you actually had a query, if you actually wanted to volunteer to help in a conference, there wasn't any official channel for you to engage in. And let alone any networking events for students where to communicate, where to find, when to meet each other. So you will go to these huge 1,000, 2,000 people conferences and you were on your own, basically. And I know that for people who are a lot more experienced, that's not a problem. You've been in the field for a long time, you know people, but when you go as a student, you don't know anyone. You don't have any sense of belonging. And you probably may confirm that, but you know, being involved in initiatives like this produces an incredible rapport with other similar people at your same level, where you can really learn lots of things, you can really synergize. So what we are having here is that instead of having a top-down development, we have a bottom-up approach of students becoming organized and providing an infrastructure, a kind of network to help them interact with each other. So regional student groups started a couple of years after the Student Council was founded in 2004, so the regional student group started in 2006. And their objective is to be local groups of students affiliated to the Student Council that serve the local needs of students and young researchers. So how do we actually serve local needs? So as a virtual network of many institutions, and you know, the beauty of that is that actually you can then see and compare how other people are doing. You can see locally how, you know, what are their programs like, what do they learn. So it is an incredible way to strengthen our field, to decrease that sense of isolation that many PhD students, many young researchers have. It also includes senior researchers who want to look at those segments of population who potentially could be employed by them, who can have opportunities for mentoring. And of course, opportunities for scientific and networking events. So this is the distribution of regional student groups right now across the globe, as you can see. Some of them have been inactive for a while, like for example Japan, but it's kind of understandable given the fact that the turnaround of students is quite fast. So 2 years down the line, the students may graduate and then the thing passes on. But still, it's an incredible global network of students. And the regional student group in the UK, I mean, it's just amazing to see, just by putting volunteer work, how much they've been able to put. I mean, this is all volunteer work. You are not paid for this, are you?
No.
You are just doing it. Why are you doing it? Because you are a masochist? No. It's an incredible. I'd say, if you want to be part of the student council, you really need to be absolutely mad. So you have to actually pay to become a member of ICB, and you actually have to put all that amount of work. So it's a self-selective process that you end up with people who really care about their personal, career, and professional development. So why joining a regional student group? Because then you can have an active role in the society, because you learn huge amounts of skills that will be extremely valuable for your career down the line when you become more senior. Being able to give talks, being able to organize meetings, being able to run committees, being able to think about the logistics of the events, of networking, is an incredible set of tools that you will have that I don't believe that any university currently is focusing providing that, and nor should they be. I mean, it's the role of an international society like ISCB to provide that. And it's an incredible place for networking and meeting people who will become lifelong friends. So, just to conclude my talk, I'll just leave you with some lessons that I have learned in these years the hard way. So my first lesson is science is a social enterprise as much as it is a scientific enterprise. And this is something that we forget about. Science is run by people, and as such, you really need to understand how to talk to them, how to negotiate with them, and how to actually stand on your own feet in front of other people. We depend on others. And another thing that I've learned is the fact that you may do excellent science. You may be fantastic at you're the best algorithm developer in the world. But if you don't tell people about it, if you don't expose that research through, or if people don't know you about, the different organizations of events, for example, Farzana, many people now who are senior know her. So when they're going to review her papers in the future, when they're going to review her grants, they know her. And we all say that we are very objective, and we try to be objective. But when you know someone and you are reviewing something, you are more capable to understand the person. And I do think that it makes a huge impact in the career of the person if people already know you. And organizing things like this and being part of the Regional Student Council will help you actually increase that exposure to your research and to your personal career. And of course, networking is key.